Hey everyone, I'm Nico from Licks of the Beast. In this video, we're going to talk about something a little bit different, and I think you're going to like it. I think it's fair to say Iron Maiden is mainly an album band. Sure, they've had some very successful hits and some very well-known individual songs, but people typically recognize the band for their albums. Each one has a very unique sound, vibe, look, and feel. And of course, each one features their mascot Eddie in a different set and setting each time. An Iron Maiden album typically has 2, sometimes 3 singles, each one with its own cover art. Now, some of that artwork, like the Trooper and Aces High, is as well known as their actual album covers. And the singles also come with 1 or 2 extra songs called B-sides, because the single is on side A and the 1 or 2 extra songs are on side B. And those are the songs I want to discuss in this video. For the more hardcore fans, B-sides are a very important part of the band's timeline and musical legacy. And there are very good reasons why this is the case. B-sides give further insight into the band's collective musical headspace of that particular time, and in some cases, they are further explorations of the sound and style of the album they had just recorded. Because many of the band's B-sides are covers, it reveals a lot about their musical roots and formative influences. And this leads to a better understanding of their musical style and where some ideas might have come from, be it a riff, an arrangement, or just a broad general musical sense. With that in mind, I want to talk to you about 5 of my very favorite B-sides. Now, I'm not ranking them in the sense that I think these are their 5 best, nor am I going to present them in any particular order. Iron Maiden's B-sides were not all recorded for the same reasons, and they're not even all actual songs. For example, Mission from Ernie is an argument between Nico and Steve that Bruce recorded, and Sheriff of Huddersfield is just the band poking fun at their manager's eccentricities and how he was complaining about life in Hollywood after buying a house there. So I don't really think that there's any truly objective metric that one could use to rank these songs. So this is just a list of 5 songs I'd like to share with you and that I hope will inspire some of you to look a little deeper into the band's recorded musical history. At number 5, I have a song that was the B-side of the Flight of Icarus single. It was originally recorded in 1974 by the band Montrose with Sammy Hagar on vocals. The original is a fantastic heavy rock song, and Maiden basically played it fairly close to the original, only considerably faster and with a more intense pace. I also have a feeling this song might have served as a sort of inspiration for Adrian when he wrote Speed of Light more than 3 decades later. Now, I don't know whether or not it was a conscious thing, but the influence was definitely there. So you have the intro here based on the G minor blues scale. Then you have the riff, which is a running G with a chromatic movement. And the verse, which is similar to Speed of Light's chorus. This is what I meant when I suggested these songs might provide a little more insight into Iron Maiden's musical style. Next is a song that was written for the X Factor, but didn't end up making it on the album. It appeared as one of two B-sides of the Man on the Edge single. And like the single, it was written by Janick and Blaze together. I've heard some people lament the fact that Maiden decided to not include it on the album, saying that it would have made a great opener. And I would agree wholeheartedly with that if it wasn't so similar to Be Quick or Be Dead, which was the opener of the previous album. It's also not that different from Man on the Edge, which I think is ultimately the better of the two songs. So it makes sense to have this one be a kick-ass B-side. Let's check it out. That's a fun riff. Dave and Janick also take some killer solos on this one. Dave's two solos are fluid and screaming, and Janick's solo, sandwiched between the two, features some crazy cool articulation. I don't know how he comes up with those licks on the spot. The third song I want to talk to you about is the B-side for the Can I Play With Madness single. This is a cover of a song by Thin Lizzy, which originally appeared on their 1976 album Johnny the Fox. The song is called Massacre, and like I've Got the Fire, this one was played very close to the original in terms of parts and arrangements. But it was properly Maidenized nevertheless. Thin Lizzy were a pretty big influence on Iron Maiden, and not just because of the guitar harmonies. Those mostly came from Wishbone Ash anyway, according to Steve Harris. But I hear it more in the arrangements, the riffs, percussive rhythms, and especially in the way Phil Lynott liked to play just ahead of the beat. That is actually one of the key elements of the Iron Maiden sound. And you can hear how natural this song sounds for them. And again, they didn't change very much other than playing it faster and more aggressively. It's actually surprisingly close to the Thin Lizzy live version. This next song is one of the very first songs Steve Harris wrote. I believe he wrote it when he was in a band called Gypsys Kiss, which was two bands before he formed Iron Maiden. So it's a pretty old song. Stylistically, it's all over the place. But musically, it's quite interesting, and this is a very well composed piece with some rather progressive elements. There's also a drastic change during the instrumental section where it becomes much heavier, and Dave plays a wild solo that transitions into this really cool Wishbone Ash style guitar harmony. The song is by and large an early prototype of what would eventually become Iron Maiden. So I think it's an essential piece for any fan of their music. You may have noticed that the drums sounded a bit different. That's because this was recorded before Clive Burr joined the band, and Doug Sampson was still Iron Maiden's drummer. For the last one, I'm gonna have to cheat a little, because I'm gonna talk about 3 songs in one. But there's a method to my madness, so just hear me out. After the monstrous Powerslave tour, the band took a much needed break. And during that break, Nickel McBrain was starting to go crazy from not playing, so he rented a rehearsal studio and invited Adrian Smith to jam with him. From there, they invited a few more people, including some of the guys from the band FM and Andy Barnett, who played with Adrian in Urchin. They worked on some songs together and played 2 gigs, one under the name The Entire Population of Hackney, and another under the name The Sherman Tankers. The set list included songs they worked on together and a few covers, and I believe they also played Lost for Words. Now, one of the songs from that set list would become the B-side for the Wasted Years single, and 2 others would become the B-sides for the Stranger in a Strange Land single. So in a way, these songs all go together, because they were developed at the same time for the same purpose. They're also very different from the rest because they're not true covers, but they're not leftover Iron Maiden songs either. They are about as close to radio-friendly, adult-oriented rock as Iron Maiden could ever possibly get. And they are very well-written songs. And that's the reason I felt I had to include all 3 in this list as one thing. Reach Out is the B-side of the Wasted Years single, and it's got one very distinct characteristic.
It's over your head. You don't seem to understand what I said. And you can't live your life trying to run away. You find in your friends, arguing everyone, but it never ends. You're wearing me out. Come on, reach out, and let someone into your life. Don't get me wrong, you are.
Yep, this one has Adrian on lead vocal and Bruce on backing vocals. And it sounds phenomenal. Adrian's Springsteen-esque singing style is perfectly contrasted by Bruce's incredibly powerful belting during the chorus. And the result is so memorable. It's also a really fun song to play. The Stranger in a Strange Land single features 2 B-sides. First, let's talk about Juanita. This one is straightforward and aggressive, and it still carries a bit of that Powerslave rawness and energy. I saved my personal favorite for last, and it's the other B-side from the Stranger in a Strangeland single, a song entitled That Girl. A different variation of the song ended up on FM's debut album Indiscreet, but the one that Maiden recorded was based on an earlier version which was a little heavier and definitely more guitar heavy. The one on FM's album is in a different key, doesn't have the guitar harmonies, and the chorus is entirely different. But let's check out the version that Iron Maiden recorded. The reason I love this song so much is that it has everything for me. The Somewhere in Time mid-80s chorusy sound, Adrian's tasteful whammy bar touches, the Caught Somewhere in Time like rhythm section that Steve and Nick will play underneath that beautiful guitar harmony, a powerful vocal delivery by Bruce, and a slinky solo by Dave. I realize this won't be everyone's cup of tea, but for me, I can never get tired of this song. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Leave your questions in the comments section, and I'm really curious to know which are your favorite B-sides and what made them special to you. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and stay tuned for more licks of the beast.